Annihilation is the latest sci-fi film that is directed and written by a male, and is also based off a book written by a male.
And here are the all-male nominees.
This movie stars an actress who played Padme Amidala, an actor who played Poe Dameron, and Jennifer Jason Leigh as a character named Ventress. Padme, Poe, and Ventress. Padme, Poe, Ventress.
All-male.
And this movie is about when a meteorite strikes down Earth and starts to create this little bubble. It has like this rainbow kind of liquidy outline. It's called the Shimmer by the people studying it, and everyone who goes in cannot find themselves out. People, drones, animals, none of them can find their way out of this thing. But in a last-ditch effort to try to get at least some answers from this thing, they send in another team led by Lena, played by Natalie Portman, who is a biologist, who is going in there with a team with Jennifer Jason Leigh, Gina Rodriguez, Tessa Thompson, Tuva Novotny, but none of these characters are really expecting what they're about to encounter in the Shimmer, what the Shimmer has been doing to this land that it's covering. I was very excited for this movie because Ex Machina, Alex Garland's previous film, I really enjoyed. In fact, I didn't see it around the time when I would have reviewed it. I saw it a little bit later, but if I had seen it in 2015, I would have given it an A+, put it on my best list of that year. Love it. It's an absolutely fantastic sci-fi film. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. This film I was very interested because Alex Garland, I think, is a talent to watch out for. I was also very interested because he himself was admitting that he wasn't trying to make a true adaptation to the book. He had read the book before, but he was really going off of what he thought would make the better story, which was something I can really appreciate, because you have a lot of movies that are trying to be too faithful to books and stuff like that, that it kind of ruins the film, and you see Alex Garland actually trying to make something unique out of the source material, which is great. So I saw this movie on Tuesday last week, and I did not the next day start filming because I honestly did not know where to start yet with that review. Not in a bad way, though. I walked out of the film generally liking it, but there was just so much that I wanted to piece together before I put a video camera in front of my face and started talking about it. But now that I've given it several days, I feel like I'm finally prepared to tell you that I really love this movie. Annihilation is something else. This is a film that isn't like your typical sci-fi film. You're probably seeing the trailers and thinking, alright, so it's a team of women this time going into this sci-fi dangerous place and they're encountering creatures or something in the vein of Aliens. Not necessarily. There are some pretty horrific moments in this film involving creatures, though. One involving a bear with the skeleton's face. Can't say anything else about that and what it does, but Jesus Christ. There's a sequence with that scarred me. One shot in that sequence that is like the best shot in the movie, I think, because it's like horrific, all in your face and detailed and beautiful but scary. So in that regard, there is a lot of good sci-fi horror filmmaking going on. Also just a lot of good sci-fi filmmaking going on, because you have the Shimmer, the bubble itself looks very pretty, but once you're inside it, the color grading kind of boosts up a little, and the green on the leaves and the grass are more vibrant, and the trees and the sky as well, and certain animals that you see that aren't necessarily harmful are looking very nice, and then you also see the animals that are harmful, and they also look very good, but are also intimidating at the same time. They don't come across as kind of like, well, that's a pretty nice special effect, but I don't really buy it that it's there. No, you feel that these things are there. And you also feel the suspense when these creatures try to attack our lead characters. However, although I'm praising some of the sci-fi horror elements of this film, it's not entirely in the vein of just horror movie. This movie really isn't easy to just kind of say, like, it's just a sci-fi movie or a sci-fi horror movie. Like, it's a sci-fi movie with horror elements, but there's also something else to it as well. This movie is one of those thinking movies. It's open to interpretation. There's many things that you can piece together. It's not like It Comes at Night, where the director omitted answers to the film in a very douchey way. This movie has answers that you can get from it, but certain people's interpretations, at least from what I've been seeing, can be completely different, but it can also still work. And I'll tell you the basics of what I think the movie's kind of about near the ending of this video. I won't talk about it yet though, but I just wanted to say how admiring I am of Alex Garland when it came to his approach to this film, because he could have gone in the route of It Comes at Night, where it's too vague and you kind of get just like nothing out of it, or he could have gone the route of Darren Aronofsky's Mother from last year, where it's just painfully obvious what the movie's about, and just the execution just kind of comes across as show-offy rather than look at this neat story. This movie for me felt like Alex Garland had a really great vision of what Annihilation should be based off what he read from the book, and he just told a story that he wanted people to think about. It wasn't like, look at me, I'm so brilliant, just I want you to sit down and watch the film and think about it for a little bit, which is something that's kind of making me mad about certain things. I know I've talked my thing about other films that I haven't had, like, agreeable opinions on, like with It Comes at Night and Mother. Generally, those movies are praised. I'm minority on both of them. I think those movies aren't too good. But with those movies, I've explained It Comes at Night omitted certain answers that I felt like I couldn't get any grasp on what they were trying to do. And Mother, it was just too obvious, and it just came across as too show-offy and pretentious douchebag filmmaking. This movie, I think, is very intelligent with the way it crafts its story. And it's just so easy for anyone to just watch the movie and then just go on the internet and be like, it was too confusing, so it sucks now. It's like, I hate to be that guy because I really can't stand people like this, but if you just go online after you watch the movie, like immediately after, and just go, the movie sucked because it was confusing, then you genuinely don't get it. And I'm not trying to say, like, I'm the smart one, I know what the movie's about, because it's just my interpretation. Like I said earlier, you can interpret many things about this film, and you really can't really argue that much, because this movie leaves so much to piece together that you can kind of see where people are coming from. But if you're not even going to attempt to try to think for a couple hours about what you think maybe the movie was, instead, oh, it's just confusing, you completely miss the point. Once again, I hate to be that guy because I've talked about before on this channel that you can hate a movie that's more artsy, a little bit different from what you're usually used to seeing, and you can understand it and still not like it. But with Annihilation, it just seems like there are people out there that will just blindly be like, oh, it's another one of those movies, so I hate it. But in this instance, Annihilation has so many puzzle pieces that you can actually piece together. Like this movie, I was thinking after I watched it, I was thinking like, well, there's certain things that I'm not quite sure, like how they fit. I gave it a couple days and then I finally was able to piece together like, oh, I see the full picture now, like I get why these things are there. So one of the things I really loved about this movie is that it genuinely left me thinking since the movie ended and all the way to like just yesterday when I finally decided, okay, tomorrow's the day when I turn on the camera to do this thing. And it's not just because of the main themes that kept me thinking about the movie, it's also just the way the film was helmed. Like I said earlier, Alex Garland did a very good job helming this film. The visual effects look very good. The production design for the shimmer was very nice. It actually made it seem like a pleasant place to be, even though there's dangerous creatures there, and the creature design is excellent, but also the cast is very good. The actors they got to play these characters like Tuva Novotny, Oscar Isaac, and Tessa Thompson, they're all doing very well, especially Gina Rodriguez, who at a couple moments I think was really nailing it. Like she had a really good performance in this film. Also, Natalie Portman, who is the main star of this film, and this is her movie after all, she was excellent in this film. All of these characters have a lot of baggage to them, and Natalie Portman is no exception to that, and Natalie Portman has to go through a lot of this film, whether it's just her in The Shimmer or her relationship with her husband, played by Oscar Isaac. She has to go through a lot, and I think the way they handled that was very well done. Natalie Portman's performance was very strong here. If I had to have one complaint with the acting, it is Jennifer Jason Leigh, mainly because I understand why she's acting the way she is, like they explained it in the movie, but it's just that the way that she was doing it, it kind of left me disengaged at a couple moments. For the most part, I'd say she was good, but there was just those moments where the line delivery was just a little too soft, a little too low, and just like, whatever, you know, and I was really hoping that she would remain consistent as far as keeping me hooked on her character. And besides that one flaw that I mentioned, there's only one other thing that I found wrong with this movie, and that is the plot structure is a little off. And what I'm about to say is not a spoiler because the movie literally opens with it. It's the interrogation scene that you've seen in the trailers with Benedict Wong and Natalie Portman. They basically, by doing that, kind of give away certain things that happen. They don't give away the whys and the hows like right away, but they do kind of reveal like certain details that you kind of wish would have kept under wraps. And given the plot structure that they were using, there is a way that they could have covered up certain details that they revealed, but they didn't, and they kind of just laid it out there, and that was a little disappointing for me. I think they could have kept certain details that they exposed under wraps so that you could watch the film and be more surprised. That's not a huge hindrance on the film though, because like I said, they don't give away the how or why yet. So there was still a constant suspense that I had when I was watching these characters in The Shimmer while they were encountering these creatures that are beautifully designed in this beautiful world. world that is also incredibly dangerous. The characters themselves are also having a lot to deal with, and the performers are all doing a very good job here. I believe Alex Garland has crafted a film that may not be flawless, it may not be a masterpiece, but it's a film that will have people thinking for a long time. It's not a film that is easy to watch one time only. Like, you can't just watch it and be like, alright, I got everything. Like, it's, unless you've like read up on someone else's theory and then you watch the movie and you're like, okay, I get it. Like, if you're just watching this movie just from like seeing the trailers, then you're probably going to need to see this movie again, or you might just have to think it over a couple days before you have like an official opinion. But I love that about this movie because it doesn't come across as show-offy, artsy, look at me, I'm a great director. It comes across as Alex Garland wanted to create something memorable. He wanted to create a story that struck a chord with people. He wanted to craft something that was special to him and was hopefully special to everyone else. And I really appreciate that about this movie. And you may not be picking up on that when the movie is going on for like maybe the first hour. You might be thinking, I thought this movie was going to be more confusing, but when certain things kind of go down in like the later half of the movie, especially the third act, which is just like kaboom! like you're not gonna get that the first time either. Then you'll kind of understand where I'm coming from right now, but like I said, give the movie a chance, think it over, don't just like immediately just springboard like, hate this movie because it's too confusing. Actually think about it, because it's not a movie that's acting like it's the greatest film ever made, like something like Mother or It Comes at Night. For me, at least, I thought this movie was genuinely trying to just be really good. Like, we hope you like it, and I really did. And before I give the grade, I just want to give a quick summarization of what I think the film's overall theme is. Basically, without spoiling anything, I think this movie is about repentance and self-cleansing. As I mentioned earlier, the characters have a lot of baggage, and they have a lot of self-destructive tendencies. And I think that the main thing about this film is being able to not give in to those self-destructive tendencies and be able to change yourself, cleanse yourself, and being able to move forward and not letting those destructive things consume you. That's all I'll really say. I'm sure you can watch other videos going more into how they feel. I just wanted to give you a brief summarization of how I felt about the themes of this film. I'm going to give Annihilation an A-. If you haven't checked this film out yet, please do. It's not doing too well at the box office right now, so I would recommend that you go check it out. Support this film, but at the same time, it's coming to Netflix in like Europe and like other countries besides the US and Canada and China, so if you're in one of those countries that's getting it for Netflix, make sure to check it out when it's Netflix. But if you've seen Annihilation, leave in the comments below of what you thought of it, and as always, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to subscribe. I'm Jackson Fulcher. See you guys next time.